Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna and this is for Pause in a Book. I make book and lifestyle related content, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Today we're going to be talking about some spooky books that I want to put on my TBR. Okay, so I already know that October is going to be a huge reading month just because of all of the projects that I have planned. There's a lot going on, okay? That being said, it's spooky season and I want to be able to put spooky books on my TBR. I will obviously have my categories where I'll try to be putting spooky books on the TBR, but I have a couple of piles here of spooky books, and what I want you to do is help me out and pick a few books, and we'll do a vlog of like reading 3 of these books, whatever the 3 are that get the most votes. So when you find a book that you want me to read, comment it down below. You can do multiple votes, and then whatever 3 have the most votes, I'll read those. I'll do a vlog for it. It'll be fun and spooky. First, I'm going to talk about 2 that will definitely be on my TBR. They are like required books for me for October. The first one is going to be My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. This is going to be the group book for the Avengers Initiative Reading Challenge for October. And from what I've been told, this is kind of like an ode to slasher films. It has a girl who is a hardcore 80s slasher film fan, and then like there's just a bunch of like tropes that happen in slashers that are happening in this book or happening to this person, something like that. It's definitely going to be like this very small town vibe. I'm here for it. I've heard really good things about it. I know Kayla from Books and Lala really loved this book last year, so here we are. And then The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. This is going to be a buddy read with Lexi and Michelle and Kaylee and a few other people. I don't know. We were all on Sprint and we all purchased it on Pango like at the exact same time. So this says, in a boarded up house on a dead-end street at the edge of the wild Washington woods lives a family of 3. A teenage girl who isn't allowed outside, a man who drinks alone in front of his TV, trying to ignore the gaps in his memory, and a house cat who loves napping and reading the Bible. Okay? An unspeakable secret binds them together, but when a new neighbor moves in next door, what is buried among the birch trees may come back to haunt them all. So that sounds really fun. This cover is just chef's kiss haunting. So those 2 will definitely be on my TBR. We don't have to vote on those. Those 2 will definitely be happening at some point in the month. Here's where you can start voting on them. Also, I do have my Literally Dead a book club shirt on today. I thought that went with the ambiance. I have my spooky decorations up. So hopefully we are getting into the full-on spooky mood here. All right, a book that is on my self-destruct list, and that's The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. This is a historical fantasy, which kind of scares me a little bit, and it takes place in like the late 1800s in New Orleans. I do love that city. I love books that are set in that city. So that it has that going for it. And this book was kind of paged as the resurgence of vampires back when it was written. And I got it originally, like when it first came out, but then a lot of people were giving it 1 star, and it kind of put me off. So there's this one. I've heard good things since, and I think it kind of had a resurgence last year when the 3rd book in the series came out. So I don't know, like I still want to read it. So it's gonna have to get read before the end of November. I have no particular order to these. I think some of them are more horror, like thriller type things, and then some are more like fantasy, vampires and stuff like that. So we have The Library of the Dead by T.L. Hachulu. And I remember a lot of people hauling this book over the summer. I think the 2nd book came out over the summer, but I haven't really heard anybody talk about like it as a review. And it's about a ghost speaker who speaks for the dead of Edinburgh and finds like an occult library and a taste for hidden magic. So that sounds exciting. Again, very spooky cover. This like green and orange is definitely a vibe this year. A book I just picked up, and not one that is like super scary, I don't think, but it's still paranormal, so we're gonna put it on here, and that's Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert. This is a paranormal romance. It's a reverse harem, I think, with a half human, half vampire, and she is given away to 4 vampires. So that should be fun. I love Katie Roberts' writing. I love her romances. So this one's definitely going to be fun. Even if this one doesn't win, I probably will still read it. Again, I'm trying to put way too many books on my TBR for next month. And we might have to extend Halloween into November. All right, we have The Shadows by Alex North. I read The Whisper Man a couple of years ago and really, really liked it. And so then I picked this one up and then never got around to it. I believe this is about a serial killer and a man who committed this atrocious crime, committing a murder so shocking that it's attracted that strange kind of infamy that only exists in the darkest corners of the internet. Inspired more than one copycat. And then a detective is investigating another copycat that's struck in a nearby town. This one is going to be one of those ones of like, is it paranormal or is it more thriller? I don't know. We will see. A book that I really want to get to because I've heard some amazing things about it. Michelle gave it 5 stars. Books and Lala really liked it as well. And that is Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. This is a sci-fi horror. So definitely like a genre blend. This is about a captain of a space crew who like finds a distress signal and goes to this ship, and it ends up being the famous luxury space liner that disappeared 20 years ago. And so then she thinks, oh, it's just going to be a quick salvage, that she'll be able to like, you know, make a lot of money off of the salvage. And then obviously like things are not all as it seems. There's ghosts, there's paranormal things, there's spooky things. This book is going to scare me, I think. Okay, then we have Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. This is a book that is on my R Fantasy TBR, so I have to read it sometime before April, and I feel like spooky season is a good time for that. And this is an alternative historical fantasy where there were zombies on the battlefields of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, derailing the war between the states, changing the nation forever. In this new America, the battle for survival is as political as it is personal, and the restless dead, it would seem, are the least of her problems. So, yeah, I have to read this one before April to get it on my R Fantasy. Spooky season seems like a good time for that. Then we have The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I know Rye really liked this book, and this seems like it's another historical fantasy with witches, and possibly a cult. That the prophet's word is law, so that feels very cultish. But her mother is consorting with witches. She begins to learn the grim truths about the church and its history. So that sounds fascinating as well. For someone who doesn't like historical fiction very much, I have a lot of historical horror fantasy type books on this list. And for some reason, they're all speaking to me, so I don't know what that says about me. But here's another one. We have The Deep by Alma Katsu. This is Titanic horror, which, like, I loved Titanic as a child. I was so obsessed with the Titanic. As a kid, I think maybe when I was like 10, I got to spend the night on the Queen Mary, which was the sister ship of the Titanic. Like, they were built kind of at the same time, like with the same general blueprints. And so then after that, I became obsessed with the Titanic. And this is what really happened on board the Titanic. Someone or something must be haunting the ship. So that sounds fascinating. Okay, another book that's on my A to Z TBR, so again, I need to read it sometime soon, and the spooky season sounds like a good time to do that. House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. I know very little about this book. I've just been told lots of good things, but to go into it really blind, I think it's like a modern day retelling of a fairy tale about 3 sisters that are strange. So, yeah. They disappeared on a Scottish city street only to return a month later with no memory of what had happened to them or where they had been. So, I don't know about anything about this, but I was told to go into it blind, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, 2 more YA type of horror books. We have Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. This is another book about a cult and a trans boy who is trying to get out of the church, or was able to get out of the church before Armageddon happens. So more dystopian than like spooky horror, but the cover looks spooky horror. And then lastly, a book that's been on my TBR for so long, but I just haven't like gotten to it. But I've put it on so many like fall themed TBRs. I never got to it. And that's Rules for Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall. This is about a forest, and once a year, I think, a road appears in the forest. And at the end of it, the ghost of Lucy Gallows beckons. So ghost, like, maybe, you know, forest, haunted forest. We love those vibes. So those are the books that I have that are spooky and haunting and should be read in spooky season. So let me know which ones I should read, and I'll do a vlog of it. So that is all I have for you today. If you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little red button that you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, I do have my very own Patreon. We have an exclusive Discord and other fun perks. The link to that is in my description, as well as the link to my Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.